Hi everyone, and welcome to our fifth and final session of the Level Up Your Customer Journey webinar series. And to those of you in the audience who have seen all the previous webinars, or some of them, we really hope they've been useful for you. Any feedback and comments from you are very welcome and will be very much appreciated. In this webinar series, we have covered the main challenges we observe in the customer lifecycle. And for each touchpoint with the customers that the financial institutions encounter, we have discussed how a simpler IT platform can help improve the customer journey, all the way from onboarding to customer management and to collections. I'm Jacob Fergeman. I'm Principal Consultant in Northern Europe. And today with me in the same room, on my left, I have Buse Hanchi. Buse is our analytics lead in Nordics. And Christopher is sitting on the right of me. Welcome to you, Christopher. Christopher is our analytics consultant and data scientist in Nordics. And in this today's session, we will summarize on some of the key themes discussed during the previous webinars. We, or rather Christopher, will subsequently present and show how organizations, by using data and analytical models in one modern technology platform or ecosystem, can reduce the time to deploy new models into their production environment. By enabling insights from data to be used proactively, have enormous value potential for financial institutions. So let's kick off and explore how businesses can manage customers even more effectively by unlocking the power of data. And to kick off, I've used the same quote as we've used in one of the previous webinars from McKinsey, Buse. Yes. Because McKinsey predicted in 2022 that by 2025, organizations would be able to use data much more effectively than they could at that time. Mm-hmm. And in my humble opinion and what I see in the market, I don't see organizations are really there yet. So I'm keen to ask, based on your experience, do you share the same observation and what recommendations can you give?
Thanks, Jacob. Yes, as you mentioned, that was one of the discussions maybe in the third or fourth webinar series we also took together. And I want to use that opportunity also to wrap up what we discussed so far, because as you say, I also don't see the organizations, or in our engagements with our clients, we don't see that they are currently at the picture that they want to be from 2023. And it is, of course, linked to also our webinar theme that modern platform or lack of modern platforms or IT complexity also giving this pain still to the organizations, even if they want to tackle these business challenges and use the data for more customer-oriented solutions. Sometimes it is not possible. And in the last webinars, we also touched upon different key challenges or themes that is still there to be solved to come to that ideal world that McKinsey put on the table in the last couple of years. One of them is about the onboarding experiences. So the digital onboarding is a very big theme for banks or other organizations, but it is still a way to go there to improve the onboarding experience. And we discussed in the first or second webinar how to increase the volumes and the revenue through data-driven insights and keeping these scorecards or the data-driven insights always up to date. This is one of the things to be solved to come to that level, the desired level. And the second thing that we also covered is the proactive and personalized touch points, how they are so important in the customer journey. We also discussed, especially the young generations are very likely to churn from their current relationships with the banks or telcos or organizations if they don't find the touch points very relevant to them, if it is very generic. So this is also very important to have first proactive, but also personalized touch points. And we discussed the importance of the collaboration across the team. So how to have this fully data-driven and very proactive customer journeys. It's important to bring business, data, analytics, and IT teams on one platform. It is very crucial to have this platform enabling that collaboration across the teams. First of all, cutting the time to deploy, time to develop some new analytical tools, implement them, and also time to yes to the customers. So this is also very important that the platforms are enabling these. And the final is reducing the IT complexity. In today's world, we see that still there are a lot of siloed systems, siloed business units. And with this complexity, having so much legacy systems that don't talk to each other, it is keeping the pressure on this very smooth customer journey creation for the organizations. I can say that.
Thank you, Buse. Very great summary of what we've discussed so far. But I think let's move to you, Christopher, to hear what your how to do this in the real world.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, based on also what Buse just said, is if we can combine everything that we want in one platform where all the IT, the analytics, the data is in one place, I think that is what the key goal is, because then you can make optimized decisions much faster, and that's what I want to talk about today. If you have one, let's say, model development data analysis platform where you can access all the needed data and then send it out to the business users that needs it, but also to use in onboarding decisions, for example, or customer management. Well, that is really the goal here. So you have everything centralized in one place. And we as Experian have created a solution, a unified technology platform, where we are helping our clients doing this. This goes from having a place where you can access your data and analyze it to make sure that you make the correct decisions and also give overviews and dashboards to your internal users, to also model deployment and feature deployment, where you take this data and the findings you had, and then deploy it into the flow that you want. For example, onboarding, but it could also be customer management or anything else where you want more insights on your customers. And then thirdly, it will be on a decision engine where so going from essentially data, raw data, to deployment, to actually make it into your decision flows, onboarding based, customer management based, and everything in one place and accessible in one place, as we showed here. And that's what we're calling the Experian Ascent platform. And what I want to go through today is how this actually looks, and also how this can be used as a one-stop shop for doing all the data needs you might want in your flows. So that the first part of this is the sandbox, where you are analyzing data, and the sandbox is our you can say our cloud platform, where we can scale the delivery, scale analysis. It's a cloud-based platform, as more aligned with a lot of other cloud-based platforms. But what makes this different is that we have created very much focused on using it for credit risk and related topics, fraud, and all the regulatory analytics, etc. Everything in one place. So we have put a filter on top of a normal cloud platform that makes a lot of tools available for developing scorecards, for example, credit risk models, making sure that everything is aligned with regulations and regulatory standards. But it's also on the cloud, which means that it's very scalable. You can schedule jobs, and you have the end-to-end support that you normally would expect. So this is a place where you can access your data, and you can make analysis on the data, both in terms of modeling, but also very importantly in terms of just getting insights and pushing it out to the business users that need it. This also has another key benefit, which is that everything is standardized, because we have these tools that helps credit analysts do a lot of the work, meaning that everything is standardized as well, which I will get more into. So this is how it essentially differs from a normal cloud vendor. That is, it can do more or less the same things with your Python, your SQL. You can do the coding as you normally would, but you have this plus this Experian toolboxes on top of this as an additional layer for credit risk capabilities. Of course, also with the Experian support model and Experian standard, meaning that everything is compliant and up to the standards that is required. And also we have special support for Experian bureau enrichments, for example, in some markets, or a direct link to Experian. So I say that's how our platform or our sandbox, model sandbox, differs. As an example of this, you can see that we can do some coding, some Python codes that makes a lot of things easier. These examples are on the screen here are how to do reporting, regulatory reports that we in Experian has done for many years. We do this for our clients for when we do model developments. We ensure there's a vast list of reports and documentation that is needed, for example, for audit purposes or just for understanding what the models are doing. So all of these things we have developed internally, and we have used them internally for a lot of years. But now with this cloud platform capabilities, we are also able to push these tools out to our clients. And that's, of course, not only reporting, it's also helping with doing the advanced machine learning or the simple machine learning, the score classes, the score cards, and the classes, finite course classing, etc. So a lot of things can be done standardized with standardized reporting inside this analytical sandbox that we have developed.
I would like to maybe chip in here because it sounds very exciting, and this is showing how the sandbox part, the model development part, can bring a lot of value, not only from development perspective, but this standardization that you mentioned, Christopher, all these reports that will automate or simplify the documentation for many organizations, their credit risk given by Experian capabilities within the tool. I think it's really gorgeous. I'm not saying because we are also using it, but I know it from our own experience for many years in the client projects. It is a very standard and high quality way of documenting the things. And I can see that, okay, now we have the models. I would like to hear more, and I know that you will bring it, but normally, after having the model documentation, there is an IT, going to the IT, bringing your model and going into a waiting list when your model can be implemented by human reaction, and generally analytics team and IT have a lot of coming back and forth in that process. So would you also touch upon this deployment piece maybe?
Yeah, of course. And that's a good point. Yeah. So one thing is, of course, developing the model. That's what I'm doing quite a lot. But the really difficult part is also taking this model and putting it into, like implementing it, putting it into a live environment, a runtime environment where it can be run. And that's where this unified platform comes in, because one thing is the model development, but a part of this sandbox is also to create all the different artifacts, the technical pieces that is needed to actually implement the model. So this is an example that we can generate from our sandbox, and this is something we have created, all of the needed packages and all the needed scripts in order to put it into a runtime environment, what also called a model ops environment. And a part of the unified platform, after being in the sandbox, is of course you want to deploy your model, and that's where our Ascent Ops or Ascent Model Ops comes in, where we can put a model that we have created or a data attribute, anything we want to have in a live runtime environment, we can put that into a live environment, and that is of course also a very time-consuming and difficult task. So introducing here the Ascent Ops piece, which is also part of the unified platform and part of the screen in the start. This is where you take all of your data and the models, and you can deploy them into an environment, a one-stop shop for everything you have deployed, regardless of what the use case is for it. But as long as you need it in a decision environment, it can be put into here. The Ascent Ops supports putting models from Python into a live environment, and it's flexible. You can have everything in one place. You have a dashboard, and you can put all your documentation, audit trails in there, which I will show in the next couple of slides. There's also an ongoing model monitoring piece, meaning when you have your live models, you also want to monitor how they're performing, not just from a statistical point of view that it's still good at finding the good and bad payers, for example, but also from a point of view that the data that's flowing in there actually looks correct. So to get a full overview. And that's what the next couple of pictures will show. So how does the model ops look like? So this is, you can access all your model deployments in one single place. You'll have a list and you can sort them on, for example, use cases. Could be countries if you're a multi-country. It could also be who are your partners, who are you partnering with, and who are using this model. A lot of sorting options, and you will have an overview of all your models in one single place. And there's also where you can look at the status of them, which are ready to be promoted and which are already in live. It's also version control. So let's say you make a new version, you can say, well, my credit card model in this market, I've created a new version of it. You can put that in and say this is version 2 of an already existing model. You can also see how are the active models performing. You can run a monitoring report on, for example, how is my model performing on 90 days past due, which is a typical credit risk model flag. You can see for each parameter I have in my model, and also for example, the score. How has it looked over time? Do we see any drifts, or does it still look stable as we want it to be? So a full monitoring report can be accessed at any time within the ops environment. Register a new model. It's actually done quite simple. In the front page of the ops, you can say, I want to register a new model or a new version of an existing model. And then you put in the details such as what is the name of the model, what is the purpose of the model, and also has it been created, how has it been created, is it in Python, and what version, and a little bit of technical details, but the system guides you through all the necessary steps. First thing is to just register, call it something, put a description, and the next part of it is then uploading these technical requirements that most, say, data scientists would know, but also what I showed in the previous slide about what comes out of the sandbox. So all these files will directly be outputted from our unified platform sandbox. And that's essentially what you need for registering it, putting all the different technical requirements, and then you'll understand what it needs to do when it's live. Of course, one thing we need to do before putting it into a live is also to test it. There's a couple of different versions of model testing, where the most important is probably the user acceptance tests, making sure that it takes in the data correctly, and that it also outputs the score correctly as we want to. So we are testing the model and making it available for decisioning. And then when you have tested it, you can promote the model. Of course, the person who created the model can register the model in the system, and then another person will go in, test the model, and promote it to make sure that there's full audit trace. And that's also traced on who has done what, which user inside the environment. And that means that for the send ops, if you want to promote a model, I've counted it, took about 40 clicks, 30 to 40 clicks to actually go from having your model and the artifacts coming from Sandbox to a final model ready to be put into a decision environment. So it goes fairly easy, and there's a graphical user interface to go through all the different steps. And then you essentially have a model. What happens when you have promoted the model is that you get a piece of, you download a little file, and that will give you all the different requirements to actually call it, and then it's hosted as a REST API. So it can be called anywhere. It could be called from my local computer, but it's essentially hosting a API, and it will also tell you what needs to go into this API and what comes out of the API, and all these details you download after you have promoted it, and then it's ready to be put into any decision engine.
Fantastic, Christopher, and what a cliffhanger with less than 40 clicks that you have a model that is ready to go into the decision engine environment. And for me, who worked in risk management in a bank with COBOL coding, that's quite a change. And I think it's really also the important message here is to make sure that the whole ecosystem from data to analytics to the decision engine environment is accessible for everybody. And to Boos's point, to collaborate between units is essential to have that speed in getting the data insight into something that is usable towards yourself as a financial institution, but certainly also towards your customers, so they can get even better service from you. And if I take it to the next stage in terms of the decision engine component, what we have put into our ecosystem is our PowerCurve Strategy Manager, which has evolved from the new business strategy manager. Many clients in Denmark, Nordics, globally have used this for many years. And this is also part of the Ascent platform, the one ecosystem. So when Christopher said that now the model is ready to deploy it, then I, as a business analyst, can then take that model and put it into our decision engine component. This theme today is not to go into the details around PowerCurve Strategy Manager, but the key point is that it's low code or no code approach within our decision engine as well. Because here we make sure that we can enrich data, we can do the rapid deployment, and we can test and learn in the same environment here. Here you can see how the decision flow looks like. Again, it's the GUI is approachable from a business analyst point of view. You don't require 5 years at the IT university to learn it. And it's also drag and drop and click of a mouse are the essential parts to use the software. Combine that, of course, with the knowledge on how the risk strategies look like and should be translated into a decision flow like this. And then here we can see how we add the model from ops via REST API, as Christopher mentioned, and then we have the model into the flow. So ultimately, just to summarize, now we have the Ascent platform taking the sandbox environment to how we deploy it through Ascent Ops, and also the decisioning component, which can be the strategy manager, can also be the originations component where we can access internal, external data via different APIs, and then also a component where we can manage the fraud attacks on your business can also be managed within the same platform, and then ultimately the reporting. So one studio to access all the different modules that you or your peers in the market subscribe to is accessible in one place to look for all the information, one place to go for product training, and also one place to find the product support. That's really the very essential philosophy of the Ascent platform. We don't want siloed decisions anymore. We want a unified customer journey, both internally, but certainly also externally. Right. So really to summarize today and the 5 webinars, today we've seen how the data points to executable models can be integrated within credit and customer strategies in a tailor-made decision engine environment by using a modern technology platform like Ascent, as just described by Christopher and myself. And I think to Christopher's point, it's really inspiring to see how 40 clicks can turn data into valuable insights, both by benefiting you as the institution, but certainly also the end customer that gets better service proactively if they're vulnerable or if they are very strong candidates for upsell or cross-sell activities. We really hope that you found this session and the other 4 sessions valuable and insightful. And do let us know if you have any questions or comments. And we're always happy to get feedback so we can learn and improve going forward. And a really special thanks goes to my 2 colleagues, Buse Hanchi and Christopher Cato, for sharing your valuable insights today and throughout the webinar series. Very much appreciated. Thank you and goodbye, and stay tuned for the next webinars coming in the not so long future. Bye.
Thank you.